We had a drug deal gone bad here in Florida. Let's take a look at it. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd is a tough sheriff here in Florida. He lays it out very well in this press conference of what happened with this little drug deal that went bad. Unfortunately, somebody lost their life over $140 worth of marijuana. That's rough right there, but let's take a look at what he had to say.
This is Christian McDonald. He's 44, and he is our victim of the robbery after he's our suspect in buying drugs, and he's the shooter of the robbery suspect. Are you confused? I'll try to clear it up. Now, we're able to use his name and his photograph because the Supreme Court just ruled recently that victims are eligible for identification irrespective of Marsy's law, as long as we don't provide further information identifying how to contact them. So he, Christian McDonald, calls Robert Crusetta to buy some marijuana. Now, I continue to hear that marijuana is this low-level, nonviolent crime. I think you'll understand it's anything but at the conclusion of this. So Christian McDonald calls his drug dealer, Robert Crusetta, and says, hey, I want to buy 1/8 of an ounce of marijuana. And he says, no problem, I'll meet you. Well, they often do business together. Robert is also an Uber driver. So he drives to the motel, the Tropicana Resort on Highway 27, just south of Interstate 4, and he meets with Christian McDonald, who drives his vehicle there. Kristen arrives. You'll see it on the video clip that we provide to the news stations. He arrives, and he gets in the right front passenger side of the vehicle where they negotiate the drug deal. Okay? What Christian does not know that prior to Robert arriving to meet and negotiate and ultimately sell him drugs, he brought Harold Cruz there as well. He dropped Harold Cruz off at a convenience store maybe a couple 300 yards away. So Harold is hanging out at the convenience store. Robert meets our victim, and they negotiate 1/8 of an ounce of marijuana for $140. So during this conversation, Harold Cruz arrives and jumps in the right rear passenger seat. And when he does, he sticks a gun to the back of Christian McDonald's head and starts hitting him with it. Newsflash, it's not really a gun, it's a fake gun. He took a screwdriver and a piece of wood, and he made this fake gun that he's hitting at our victim in the back of the head and threatening to shoot him. Now, at this time, while Harold has the fake gun, Kristen McDonald makes a statement, hey man, I've got kids, it's Christmas time, don't do this. Because Harold is demanding the marijuana, and he's also demanding cash. Robert, the driver, the drug dealer, is saying nothing. Our victim, Kristen McDonald, reaches into his pocket, pulls out a 9mm handgun, and shoots over his head like this into the back seat. Well, listen, this guy's really good. He shot 10 times, hitting Harold Cruz Well, we've counted 12 holes. Some of them can be entrances and exits. So he shoots 10 times, killing Harold Cruz. One of the 12 shots hits Cruz dead in the center of the forehead. That's what you call DRT. Then Kristen and Robert jump out of the vehicle and they start making up a story. And in the midst of this, Robert gets back into the car and he grabs the marijuana, the identification of our suspect in the robbery, Harold Cruz, this fake gun, and throws it over the fence near the motel. Deputies arrive. Kristen has called 911 and says, hey, somebody tried to rob me and I shot them. So right now, at this point in time, it certainly appears, even though he was committing a crime by buying a small amount of marijuana, he certainly was the victim of a pre-planned robbery by his drug dealer and his drug dealer's buddy. So while our robber is dead, Robert is charged with second-degree murder, felony murder, and 9 additional charges. Kristen, from the early stages of the investigation, appears to be a victim and has been released to go home. So he's not charged. The investigation's underway. We have the gun, and as you can see, there's a small amount of blood on the fake gun where he was holding it when he was shot by the victim, a la the shooter. So that's confusing, but it's a hard way to learn a lesson about, one, you shouldn't be dealing in drugs. That'll get you a second-degree murder charge. 2, your buddy can get shot and killed in the back seat of your vehicle trying to rob somebody in a pre-planned robbery. And 3, McDonald, who just thought he was going to score a small amount of marijuana, has now murdered someone. And that very well may stay justifiable or stand your ground, but that's still under investigation. He was not arrested. Are there any other questions? That's about as clear as I can make it. So, at the end of the day, Harold, who's also an Uber driver and a robber, won't be home for Christmas. And interestingly enough, Robert says, well, what's my bond? There's no bond. You won't be home for Christmas. You'll be in jail. It's a sad situation to think that you died over trying to rob a guy for $140 and a little bit of marijuana. And oh, by the way, his buddy who drove him there had $900 in his pocket. So if our Robert, Harold Cruz, who was, they said, as the information came to us, was high on drugs that night and needing to hit a lick for a quick fix, if his buddy had just loaned him $100, he'd still be alive today. So while Robert had $900 in his pocket, he sat there while Harold got shot over $140 and 1/8 of an ounce of marijuana. Crazy, just totally crazy. Okay?
Sheriff, I have
Yep.
one question.
Yes, ma'am.
McDonald, did he have a concealed carry license, or
Interestingly enough, he's not a convicted felon, and in Florida now you don't have to carry. I mean, you don't have to have a concealed weapons permit to carry a concealed firearm. So it was perfectly legal for him to carry his firearm in his pocket. Now, of course, there's other ancillary investigations that's going on, but as far as the shooting and the murder, certainly he seems like he is a victim of a robbery, and he defended himself.
And do I'm trying to remember everybody's position here, but the criminal history, not of McDonald, but the other two?
Yeah, the others, in fact, the one that was shot and killed has no criminal history at all, which was amazing to me. He has no criminal history. Our victim, shooter, has had previous arrest, but no felony convictions. Okay? Thank you all very much. If I don't see you before, have a very Merry Christmas
Thank you, sir.
and a happy and safe holiday. Bye.
Well, there you have it. Think the sheriff done a great job of saying exactly what happened, how everything fell apart. But the guy, 40 years or so, losing his life over $140 worth of marijuana. Well, that's tough right there, bud. Careful who you hang out with. Careful with what you do with your life. Thanks for watching. Get a minute, hit the subscribe button. Appreciate you.